They got up and left. Johnny Cash was wearing a white Guayabera and white shorts. When they walked out, Al had the group going out the door, and Johnny Cash got out and he said, "I'll be with y'all in just a minute." And he turned back around and went into the room y'all were sitting in today, went up to every table, and he'd come up behind them again and he'd said, "Hello, I'm Johnny Cash." And I mean, people.
Wow. That's awesome. 12,000 feet above sea level, 2 degrees below zero. The only thing not frozen on this mountain is our fish. They would send tuna and other fresh fish from the seafood market. And I remember y'all had like a big pole with a nail, and you'd stick a fresh tuna outside that restaurant in Colorado. I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
That is pretty awesome.
Gulf Coast Grill. A brilliant idea, and it was a total failure.
What was it like having a dad as a civil rights lawyer?
You know, in 1968, Robert Kennedy was killed, Dr. King was killed, the Vietnam War was starting to rage. He was with Dr. King the night before he got killed.
What?
And it was a Korean restaurant, and it was about to go out of business, and Yoshi was napping on one of the benches when we walked in there. And she hopped up and got behind the Hoshisaki. I said, "You gotta do this at Harbor Docks." She said, "I drive by Harbor Docks every day." She said, "I'll start Friday." Okay.
My Millennium Falcon, Han Solo.
Nice.
You and our guest this week give me Han Solo vibes. Just make it work however it needs to work. You gotta eat. Number 8 is Charles Morgan. Tell me how you know Charles Morgan.
Yeah, so in 1987, I moved to Florida for what was hopefully going to be the last time I ever had to wait tables. I think I was 6 years into my server career at that point. I just wanted to open a restaurant. And I don't even know why I went there to apply for a job, but I went to Harbor Docks to apply for a job. Destin was much different back then. Everything that was happening in that area in the Panhandle was in like downtown Destin. Sandestin had kind of happened, 5-6 years earlier, and Seaside, I think, just opened, but that was so far away. And so everything was there, and Harbor Docks was in the harbor. They had a huge deck with a lot of live music. It was one of the great times of my life. It was my kids, every time, we go to the beach every year, and we drive by, and they've kind of gotten to the point, we know, Dad, we know that's where you worked and that's where you lived, and you got up every morning at 10 and went to the beach and had breakfast at June's Dunes. We know the story, and so they've just heard me say it so much because, I had the stress level of this water bottle, when I was living down there, and it was just such a great place to work. It broke all the rules in the restaurant trade, which Charles has always done. And I think he gets upset at me when I say that, because I've written about that a lot. But I admire that. It's something that restaurant runs. Steve and Mike, Steve's the general manager, and he was there when I was there in 87, and he was there when they opened in 79. And so that type of loyalty is on. I have one team member that's been with me since day one, 37 years. Charles has a lot. And now his son's working there and running the show. And he actually, all his kids are in the industry. And that speaks highly of Charles. He never pushed him on. Like with me, I'm not pushing that on my son, but he wants to do it. But Charles has 3 that are doing it. And pretty cool.
It's a pretty good ratio. And yeah, as we said in the episode, Charles Morgan is very much like the founder of pirate radio, but in the restaurant industry, taking a fishing village and just, man, that's what's so cool about it is like, we just want to have fresh fish. Like you can literally go and fish off the back dock. It's not like, oh, this is Harbor Docks. We aspire to be like fishermen or to cater to fish. Like there's literally, you can park your boat in the back. So It is what it is. It's the real deal.
He's got a wholesale seafood business. So he has boats that go out. There are not many restaurants that own their own boats. and they go out and they catch fish and they bring them back in. And like they come in the morning and you're eating that fish at lunch. So he's been doing that for forever. And, in the early days of Purple Parrot Cafe, Crescent City Grill, I used to get seafood from them up on the bus. There weren't that many. Nobody in Hattiesburg, Mississippi was serving, fresh fish. And so nobody delivered there from New Orleans or the coast. That came later. And so I would get them to pack fish and ice chest in ice and put them on the Greyhound bus in Fort Walton. And then I would go meet the bus in Hattiesburg at the Greyhound station like 3 days a week and get fresh fish, crab meat, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. The mojo sauce we've talked about with the crab meat wontons,
I came from the two Thai ladies, Dang and Long, who cook lunch there. One of them's still there. I think it's Dang.
Yeah, it is. No, it was really cool, to see basically kind of where your origin story began in a lot of ways in the restaurant industry. And knowing you, we've done this with some of the guests, but this was like really the real deal. We were at Harbor Docks with Ollie. So he's like, oh, this is where it happened. But then talking to Charles at the Red Bar, this is who it happened with. And so you're like, oh, okay. It's just really cool. And it makes a lot of sense in a very positive way.
Yeah. I think it should be noted that our first two guests on this podcast were Ali Petit and Charles Morgan. And as you know, and as people who've watched the show know, we let the guests pick restaurants. And Ali picked Harbor Docks, Charles's restaurant, and Charles picked, without knowing, Charles picked Red Bar, Ollie's restaurant. And it's a little weird. We're sitting here talking about the Florida Panhandle, and I'm in Sweden. It's kind of freaked out. I'm not dressed for the beach. It's in the high 30s or something out there. No snow though.
Yeah, we shot this in August. It was a while ago, and it's fun to look back on. That was a really fun weekend too, on 30A and in Destin. So it was a good time with some good people, and I really can't wait to share this with everybody. So if you enjoyed this, share with a friend, consider subscribing. We won't email you, we promise. This is You Gotta Eat number 8 with Charles Morgan.
Onward.
I'll tell you who's good is Tom Morales. Tom, he redid the Loveless Cafe. He's got Acme.
Yeah. I've eaten at Loveless.
I just saw a thing on NPR and Tom, he worked for me.
Really?
Before you did.
Dude, you've had so many people that have worked. Chief among them, me.
Yeah,
one of my best, other than places I've owned, is the best job I ever had.
Yeah.
I was recently divorced. I got married too young, and I was waiting tables. I had finished school. I wanted to come down to the beach and wait tables for what hopefully would be the last time in my career. So far, it's been the case in 37 years. And I worked for Charles at Harbor Docks. Still one of the best jobs ever, one of the best times I ever had. I lived at Sandpiper Cove with my roommate and his girlfriend, $500 a month furnished. Spent my mornings on the beach. Would go down
That's
to,
a
what was
killer
the breakfast
rate, man.
place?
$500 a month, furnished, goodness.
Furnished. Basically on the beach. What was it? June's Dunes.
That's
You
where the
see
back
breakfast
porch is
there.
now.
I'd come work lunch for Charles, go home, go to the beach, come work for dinner for Charles. I had the stress level of that salt shaker back then, but his culture, there's something about, if I could figure out a way to bottle his culture, which he's done, and it's like I've always, you've heard me say,
Yeah.
culture is top down. It comes from the top down, and Charles has been a great leader. He does it in a fashion that nobody else can do it. I don't know how he does it, but it works. People love him. People love his restaurants. Your loyalty is unmatched. And I was telling Ollie earlier, this is what I do. It's just like you, man. I don't hunt. You fish. You're a big fisherman. I don't hunt. I don't fish. I don't play golf. I do restaurants, man. I'm eat up with restaurants. How you have operated really over these years, and the number of people you've got who have stuck with you for so long speaks highly. You're going to be humble and modest on this, but it's 100% because of the foundation you've laid at Harbor Docks and then everywhere else. So what's the secret?
I'd like for you to just keep talking.
I mean, Charles, I mean, every bit of that. You know how much I admire you and how much I look up to you. You were a mentor to me a lot of times when you probably didn't even realize you were doing it, even to this day. And, you know, I really would one day, I'd love to bottle the Charles Morgan magic.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
I'm not.
Do you keep it in bottles?
No.
So if you had to answer that question, what, you know, I know your father was big influence on you as a great man. So that had something to do with it, but he had good stock with which to work. Do you major in political science? Do I have that right?
I think so. I got a master's in American Studies.
Okay, there you go.
I remember that.
And you moved to Destin and opened in a small little beach house on the harbor in 1979. Take us from there.
I think the advantage that we had was I had no background in business. The first business plan I ever put together, I went to the bank. We had two banks in Destin. I went to one of the banks, and I had wanted a $5,000 loan to build a kitchen. It was a Jim Walters house, 2 bedrooms. Dewey Destin grew up in it. For the first 6 or 7 years we were open, the women's restroom had a bathtub and shower in it. It was a full-blown restaurant. We had a shower curtain that looked like you'd have when you're in college. We didn't.
Wow.
But I went to the bank to build a kitchen, and $5,000 loan, and it took them about 3 weeks, and they turned me down because I didn't have any experience. So there was one other bank in town that I did business with it, what little business I had with that bank.
Right.
So I went to the other bank, walked in the door. Roger Clary owned it. So all the charter boat fishermen got their loans. And Aileen Balzer was a loan director. And I walked straight to her desk and sat down. I had my business plan. She didn't need to see it. And she said, "How much did you want?" And I said, $7,500. And she said, "It'll be about 5 minutes just so you can pick up a check down at that window." And I said, "Wow." So when I did that, I went back. I said, "We're not going to build a kitchen." We built the room that y'all were in today.
Yeah.
That whole room, that bar. The beam came from a fertilizer factory in Arkansas. That whole room I built for $7,500. Then 2 years after
So
that,
how'd you get a kitchen?
we had a Westinghouse stove. And what was the kitchen of the house? We didn't cook much.
You were doing oysters
We did oysters and shrimp.
and beer.
Yeah, that was it. And then the next year, back then you had to have 5,000 square feet to get a liquor license. We just had beer and wine. Well, I had the guy Irv and Chad Lindis, and Harbor Docks is on pilings. That part was on pilings. So that whole winter, they dug out the sand underneath the pilings.
The downstairs?
The downstairs.
Where we were last night.
Yeah.
They built that. I bought a bar at Red Barons. It's still there.
In Atlanta.
Years ago. And they built the stairway. And the end of February, Stevie and I, who was bartending
met him.
today, we drove to Tallahassee. Computer was down. We said, "We're not leaving until we get our liquor license." We got our liquor license. We went back. They cut the hole out of the floor for the down. Nobody had any idea what we had done. We didn't get a single permit, not an electrical permit, a plumbing permit, nothing. Nobody had any idea. And we had the Blue Beats play that night downstairs from Memphis.
Blue Beats from Memphis was the house band at Harbor Docks on all the busy weekends. Great guy, Bruce and all those
It's
guys.
very pirate radio energy.
Yeah.
Like, just do
And
it.
Sort of, that kind of got the party started, and it didn't end for a long, long time.
Hadn't ended yet.
But I think one of the advantages I had was that I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know accounting or business. My dad was a civil rights attorney, and it wasn't in our family. And so
What was his thought when you told him, "Dad, I'm going to open a restaurant"?
people asked if he'd ever tried to get me to be a lawyer, and he never did. I think I leaned more towards, admired the journalists that he was around in the South during the civil rights movement. The journalists were basically war reporters.
Yeah.
And so I admired, I had gotten my captain's license when I got my master's degree. The captain's license was much more valuable than the master's degree in American Studies, and I was running a private boat for a Strickland paper company in Birmingham, Alabama. And
Out of Destin?
yeah, and my dad, for the first time in his life, had moved to Washington. He moved to Washington for the first time he was making money, which we'd never had. And he had he liked to buy property, so he bought that little shack for $100,000 in 1977 or something, and it just sat there. And I called him. I said, I want to open an oyster bar, whatever I told him.
Yeah.
And I had great parents, and I was an only child. I think that was another advantage, because my mother was always. I have lots of friends, and my mother always encouraged me.
Yeah.
You know, when somebody asks you to do something, do it. You want to go water skiing? I've never been. Go water ski, do. So I was
Were you
always
24?
24.
Yeah.
When we opened.
24 when you opened?
What was it like having a dad as a civil rights lawyer during a very, I would
heat of the
say,
battle.
heated time? Like, that must have been a very unique experience.
Well, my dad, in his office, 5 Forsyth in Atlanta. It was Dr. King's SCLC, Ralph Abernathy, Julian Baum was SNCC, their office was there. John Lewis, the Voter Education Project, was here. And so through all those years, he had 9 cases in the Supreme Court, and he put women on the juries for the first time in Alabama.
Wow.
He got blacks registered to vote throughout the South. And in 1968, Robert Kennedy was killed, Dr. King was killed, the Vietnam War was starting to rage. He was with Dr. King the night before he got killed.
What?
And my dad started taking Vietnam cases. So, I mean, from 63 to 72 or 74, and I was a teenager, wanted to be rebellious, but it was difficult to be more rebellious than my dad. He was
In the
out there.
60s.
Yeah, no joke. Wow.
So, and we were tremendously proud of him and always have been. And so I learned some lessons from him and my mom. My mom was something else. She still is. And I had no business background at all. I think a lot of it was luck. When we opened Harbor Docks, there were 6 restaurants from the Destin Bridge to Sandestin, and one was a Tasty Freeze.
And Sandestin wasn't there, was it? Or was it maybe just getting built?
Yeah,
One of them was a Tasty Freeze.
and one of the reasons we did it, we had to go into Fort Walton to drink at night. Party.
Yeah.
There was nothing to do in Destin.
So you were living down here then, obviously.
I had moved here in '77.
And you were on the boat as
With
a
the
captain.
boat. It was nice.
So back then, those 6 restaurants, you can probably name them: Jewel, Melvin's,
That was
Fisherman's Wharf.
Jewel Melvin's, the Wharf, the Blue Room. There was Captain Dave's.
Captain Dave's, what I was
And
thinking.
there was a place, the Friendship House, that is now Captain Dave's on the beach.
Okay.
That was it. Buddy Gentry had a Tasty Freeze.
So you've seen what was really a sleepy little fishing village, which was the name, the kind of the moniker for Destin.
Yeah.
You were here when it was a sleepy little fishing village into what it has become. I know there are a lot of people in Oxford who lament the growth. I'm interested in your take on that. Being a business person, you obviously have, you're grateful for the clients and the guests, but is there a little tinge of how it used to be kind of thing? Is that yours?
Yeah. Thank you.
I'd say there's more than a little
More than a little tinge.
But you're correct. It is.
Talk me through that.
We have a lot more money
Yeah.
than we did, but it's not near the lifestyle. We don't have the fish that we had then. The fish that my family's fished for and had alternates cobia have disappeared, and things are changing. And yeah, it's traffic's traffic. It's not so much that, but where we are. We're right dead middle in the middle of 30A. And I used to go to, it was where Stinky's was the lake place. And I'd park my truck, take my bike, and ride to Inlet Beach and back. It was 40 miles. And people would say, God, they didn't have bike paths back then. I said, you didn't need to worry about a bike path. You'd pass 6 or 8 cars.
There were no cars
in the fall. There was no
just some little beach houses. And
in Destin in the 80s and 90s, when you were there, when the bar was there, if you remember, it was good-looking people from Atlanta, single, no kids, partying, and
the deck was packed.
Yeah, it was all, and we had great music, and it was just fun. Well, over time, and I know people who, Robert, I know the people that bought the second house at Seaside. I took them out there and when Seaside started, and
that's about 85, 86,
maybe 80. I would say, yeah.
Yeah, because it was barely there when I was here.
Yeah. And it was
watercolor was woods.
And all of this, everything you see, all of this, Grayton Beach is different. This is Defuniak Springs people and Birmingham people. And this has always been.
This is real.
This has been real. It's been special.
It's got soul.
Robert Davis changed everything. And hats off to him. Remarkable. Like it, don't like it. Seaside was a earth-changing. It was dramatic, and all these.
And are you saying in a bad way?
No, I'm saying in everything, in an incredibly creative way, remarkably successful, brilliant, and everything came from that. Everything you see, watercolor, where you're seeing all the way down, everything he set.
Rosemary, Alice Beach, all that from Seaside.
And gradually, the folks with money in the South moved this way from Destin, and Seaside started it, and it went on. And one of the things that I'm glad, the reason that we're here from my standpoint is I'm proud of the Red Bar.
Yeah.
I'm proud of what it stands for, what they do, how it operates, where it sits, what it looks like, everything about it. Because I can't avoid people in Destin are a little bit jealous of 38. The demographics, if you're in the restaurant business, you like people with money, the demographics have changed. Destin is much more a middle-class vacation place. This is where the money is. On the other hand, I'm a fan of diversity. I just like it. I like being around all kinds of different people.
Yeah, same.
Well, you don't have a whole lot of diversity out here. These people, there's some white people out here, and they got money, and this is all predicated on a white sand beach back here. Yeah. This is not really a luxury international resort. It's based on that, and what drives it. It's not people your age or my age. I almost feel like I'm a different generation. Are you 60?
I'm 63. What are you, 67?
I'm 70.
77 years.
What drives it? And I've had people that I've tried to help with. I've had people that I've tried to help with this, but I know people that if they found, and you can buy so much more, so much bigger, so much in Destin than you can at, let's say, Alice Beach.
Right.
But I tell friends that would look at something like that, your children, the generation just under you, your children will never, ever forgive you. This is driven by young people. This is not by, and the tremendous transference of wealth from my generation, the generation above mine, to younger people. And it's like this. If somebody said they were going to Destin, it's like, ooh, no.
I don't see that.
Really?
You're just going to have to trust me.
Okay, I do.
And you're staying here on 38 with your kids.
I am.
You don't see it. Though.
Guilty.
But
anyway, right next to the square. Let's go to the square. That's all the kids say.
The 38 is fine.
Yeah.
Except it's a little, it's not near diverse enough for me. And that's why. And like all the fancy stuff that's around here, that's tricked up, that was not here 30 years ago, 40 years ago. We're sitting at the Red Bar, and Oliver has done this in a way it is open to everyone, and it has got as diverse a crowd. It gets these rich folks down the road when they want to go slum. And this is, he's done something really special.
I totally agree.
And when this place burned, that was as shocking. Anytime something burns is shocking.
Yeah.
But this had people on the earth, and as happens, when things like that happen, something better comes out of it.
Right.
And Oliver, there's never any doubt that he was going to. And the same thing, I've seen it before when we had Hurricane Opal, 96. for the next 5 years. Hurricanes are great for business for about 5 years. The next 5 years, the rebuilding takes place. During the oil spill, that ended up, there's tremendous money that got thrown around. COVID, same thing. All these things that you think of the end of the world, and when your place burns to the ground, that's your first thought.
Yeah.
Sometimes it turns out.
Go, here we go. Yeah, do your thing.
All right, I'll stay off camera for you guys. So, I'm going to give you the whole spiel, even though I know everybody's been here before.
Oh, you go.
Our daily fish will be fresh grilled mahi-mahi. It has a citrus white wine butter sauce and is served with mashed potatoes and a side salad. Salads have our homemade tomato basil vinaigrette dressing. They come on the plate with the meal. Market price on our mahi-mahi is $36. Shrimp and crawfish are mostly peeled and sauteed. We do leave the very tail end of the shrimp on, served over penne pasta with a tomato beurre blanc sauce. You are able to do that dish all shrimp or all crawfish tails if you prefer. Our baked eggplant is half an eggplant we scoop out of the skin. It's mixed with shrimp, scallops, zucchini, and squash. We place in the skin, it's topped with breadcrumbs and cheese, finished off with a tomato beurre blanc sauce and served with a side salad. Penne chicken has been a staple here for years, lightly breaded, pan-fried, topped with capers and a lemon butter sauce and served with mashed potatoes and side salad. And our manicotti will be tubes of pasta stuffed with cheese, topped with mozzarella cheese and marinara sauce and baked. And then we have an entree that we don't have written down, but we serve daily, very demanded. It's our blackened grouper. Lightly blackened, pan sauteed. It's served over our cheddar cheese bacon grit cake, similar to a cornbread or plantain bread, but it is made with grits. And that's going to be stacked up with sauteed spinach, finished off with a Meuniere sauce, and served with a side salad. Our grouper is $46. So I promise everything's amazing. The beauty of a small menu.
Yeah.
From Harbor Dock Seafood Market.
That's
What you
right.
want?
What you want? You go first.
I'm going to have the
Age
manicotti
before
because
beauty.
I've had penne chicken, and that's the one thing we stole.
Yeah.
But we stole two things from all of it. We stole all of our Chuck's M5's had penne chicken. It's about our second or third biggest seller.
My question to him today, and I'm going to ask you later, was when you were a kid, your mom made your birthday dinner.
Yeah.
What's your favorite meal she made? He said penne chicken.
Yeah, that's why I'm.
Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, because I want to taste. Ollie's childhood.
There you go.
You know.
All right. Well, we need to even it out. I'll get the blackened group.
Perfect. We're good otherwise, guys, right now?
All good.
We'll get this
so.
going. Thank you.
Thanks.
I hear you talking about this. Just to interject, how do you balance success and integrity? Because at a lot of times it feels, and in an increasingly polarized world, it's one or the other. No matter what the topic is, one or the other. Red versus blue. This team versus that team. You're either successful or you're holding the fort down, maybe not having as much success but living on principle. Is there a way to do both?
Well, I don't know, but I can promise you that there are a lot of people that attribute integrity to people who are successful, and the people damn sure don't deserve it.
Okay.
I'll agree 100% on
So
that.
I would think if anything, if success is tied to financial success, the best thing that I can think of you can do is to not act like it, and not, and integrity. Robert knows my background. He had a much shorter background, but it was Harbor Docks.
We can get into that if you want.
It was the Wild West. I mean, there were no holds barred. It was a real. However, at the base of it, we always tried to be good to people. We had a sense. I always just felt like if somebody was working for me, they could be doing. I got them for 40 hours a week or more, and that's if you take a week, 24 times 168 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get them for a quarter of those hours, and for 56 of the hours they're asleep, and I'm getting them for 40 hours. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think the integrity, at least with Charles, this is my read, and I know him fairly well, is that it's a moral center. He's got a true moral center. I'm sure it was instilled by his parents, and then he carried it on. And that's where his integrity comes from. And we both have wilder days. Of course, his were a little longer than mine. I was 4 years sober when I worked for Charles. And I can remember everybody be going in the office, everybody be up late at night. Man, they were having fun. But doesn't matter what was going on in there and the party atmosphere and all that, I always felt like this place cares about me. They're taking care of me. They care about, what I'm doing and who I'm with and what's going on here. And I think that's the key.
Yeah.
To ask somebody, I'm not going to tell you that I have high integrity, because there have been plenty of times when I haven't. And if somebody ascribes that to you,
but somebody with low integrity wouldn't say that.
Yeah, well,
and someone with low integrity wouldn't be concerned about diversity or how people are, like all the things you just said about how things have moved out here, and you wouldn't even care. You know what I mean?
You can handle some things well and some things not so well, and have some integrity. But when we were open till 4 a.m. And if there were any bars that didn't have somebody around that had cocaine, I don't know how you did it. And alcohol and cocaine, I mentioned Robert earlier. If the money, I took the cure 20 years ago, and if I had taken it 40 years ago, like him, I wouldn't be talking to you idiots right now. I'd be doing something else. But if I'd have just spent the money that I spent on drugs and alcohol and bought shares of Coca-Cola stock along the way, but I didn't. And I'm not going to say, but I dodged that bullet. I got out of it.
You don't look back. You don't look back.
Not really. And I'm there. It showed some little spark of integrity sometime. And I remember exactly when it came back for me. I was in Red Bay, Florida, up the road here in the country. And it was one day, and I've been struggling with stuff, and I could not. I tried to think about what was important to me, and I had to go back to when I was a teenager. Before any alcohol or drugs, I had to go back to what really meant. I was literally thinking back to when I was a teenager, because everything had gotten fogged up since then. And I picked up the phone and found a rehab center and booked myself and gave them a credit card. And 2 days later, I went down there, and it's made the last 20 years of my life much nicer.
With me, my story like that, and we've talked about this, is, I was at 20. I got sober at 21, and I had burned out quick. I was Miller Pony at 14, sticking needles in my arms at 19, and then driving 90 miles an hour down 4th Street with 3 police cars by me at 21. But I had resigned myself at that point that I wasn't going to live to be 30. And the truth is, I probably wouldn't have made 25, the way I was going. I was going hard, but the only reason I'm alive today, I didn't have enough money to kill myself with cocaine, because I don't think there's anybody that's ever done cocaine that doesn't like cocaine. It's not a problem if you don't like it. It's just,
I remember it. When you could find good cocaine. Yeah, that's the other thing. It was very.
I don't like it. I just like the way it smells. That's the joke,
Nice.
I smell
again, another reason to look up to this guy. It took the Hattiesburg Police Department to get me into a rehab center, and then a hard-ass halfway house in Omaha, Nebraska. He reconciled to himself.
Yeah,
I need to do something.
That's a gutsy move, man.
I went to an expensive rehab center, and I can tell you, if they had put me in jail for 24 hours, I would have saved a lot of money.
Yeah,
that would have done it for me. I just we dodged all the bullets, and we were for the most part harmless. We weren't hurt, not hurting maybe family members, not being great to your family, but we weren't violent. We weren't those kinds of things. So, but anyway, dodge that bullet.
I think you feel this way. I know I do, because I thought, the thing is, the fun had been over a long time by the time I ended up in rehab. I thought, what am I going to do for fun? There wasn't any fun going on.
Anyway.
No, I wasn't having any fun. It was all consequences for me. But whatever life I thought was ahead of me without alcohol and drugs I was so wrong about that. It's been so much better. I know you feel the same way too. It's just you're more of a free man almost. So what's next? So like you say, Destin started, and it grew. When I was here in '87, this was Paradise Cafe, no air conditioning. Seaside, I think it just opened. Watercolor was pines and scrawny oaks. Rosemary, Alice Beach weren't there. There was just Beach House. So, I mean, it's full all the way to Panama City now. So what's next?
I don't know, but when you mentioned Paradise Cafe, it reminded me of a story. I
loved that place.
I got a phone call from a banker, Al Qualls, and this was 30 years ago, 25 years ago. And he called me and said, Charles, it's Al Qualls. He said, I need a favor. I said, what you need, Al? He said, well, I got Johnny Cash and June Carter and their daughter with me. And he said, we're at a gun show in Panama City. It was a Thursday. And he said, we were going to take them to dinner at the Paradise Cafe that we'd heard about. And I called them and we asked them, it was Carlene and her boyfriend, and said, I asked them if we could get in at 5 o'clock. And they said, nope, we're totally full. And he said, well, ma'am, he said, we'll come anytime we can. He said, I was going to bring Johnny Cash and June Carter in there. And she said, mister, we don't give a shit if it's President Bush. We don't have anything. And I said, well, they lasted about another year.
Yeah.
This is horrible. I said, we'll run.
Did they come to Harbor Docks?
I said, we'll run everybody out of our restaurant. So they came to Harbor Docks, sat there, had an incredible meal. Couldn't be one. Steve Forbert was playing.
Right.
He said, would you please introduce me to Johnny Cash? I took him down there, and Rodney Crowell had done one of his songs. So anyway.
Rodney Crowell's married to his daughter.
That's right. They were there. And so we ended up, when they got ready to leave, everybody in the restaurant knew there. Nobody bothered them. They didn't, but the restaurant was full.
Were they downstairs?
They were downstairs to the left. And they got up and left. Johnny Cash was wearing a white guayabera and white shorts. When they walked out, Al had the group going out the door. And Johnny Cash got out and he said, I'll be with y'all in just a minute. And he turned back around and went into the room y'all were sitting in today, went up to every table, and he'd come up behind them again and he'd said, hello, I'm Johnny Cash. And I mean, people.
Wow.
And I thought,
that's awesome.
Yeah, the old Paradise Cafe missed out on that.
Yeah,
one.
they did.
Oliver wouldn't have missed that.
Wow.
But anyway, I don't know what's next. Things are going that way to the Freeport and the Funiac Springs. That's where the workforce has to live. Our workforce, much of which is endangered right this minute because we have ICE come, arrested 400 people in the last 2 days.
Yeah, I heard that.
So we're dealing with that. It's ironic to me because every bit of construction you see up along here with these millionaire Republican conservative people, all the contractors who I've never known a Democrat contractor, all these buildings have been built with Hispanic labor, Hondurans, Mexicans, and Guatemalans, and everybody knows that. And these restaurants are staffed by them. And now, totally, people are not criminals of any sort. There ain't nobody eating cats and dogs down here. They make a lot of money. And based on a system of meritocracy that were entered, the Hispanics are going to win out on that count every single time. They outwork everybody. So everything's likely to come to a halt around here, which will be interesting.
Am I right? Did you run for office one time, a city council or something? Maybe it was your son.
I got the most votes in history until he ran.
Tell me about that. Your political career. I've never heard that. We had breakfast or lunch
that's
once or
not
twice
fun
a
to
year.
remember. I was a city councilman for 4 years.
What was that like?
Horrific.
It was horrific.
Everybody could agree on something and nothing ever got done. And I would go in. I had the Sunday meetings were on Monday. I had the Sunday New York Times in front of me. And I had a big Chick-fil-A thing full of vodka with just a little bit of cranberry juice. And my partner next to me, I'm not going to tell his name, he would look over at me and he said, yeah, I'll go to Chick-fil-A. They don't have anything like that. I said, I'm going to read, this is on video. Hey, I'm going to read my newspaper and I'm going to have my little drink here. And you need to pay attention.
Just tell me when it's time to vote.
Yeah. Wow.
So no, it was horrible. Chatham was much better at it than I was.
Chatham's son.
Well, given what your father did for work, then getting in the restaurant business, we talked to a lot of people in the restaurant world, and they all seem to care a lot about people. Is that why you started Harbor Docks? Is that because you go do city council? That's a selfless. It's not a selfish thing to go do. It's a selfless thing to go do. Is it because you care about people? Is that the common thread? Or
Well, if you have a tendency to To not like people, ooh, you don't want to be in the restaurant. I don't know that I like people any more than anybody else, but I'm fairly friendly. Yeah, and I've met so many people over the years. You can imagine. I mean, my group best friends have come from. They're either employees or people that I've met as customers.
Yeah.
The cool thing about Harbor Docks is it's the local hangout as well. They get a lot of tourists. I mean, I bring my family in. We go twice while we're here for a week, but the locals are in there. The fishing captains, just everybody. He's got guys that've been coming since '79. I'm sure that.
Yeah, and they're to the point where we have a funeral or so. And one of the things that Harbor Docks does, we have, a lot of those folks are not affiliated with the church or real religious. And when they die, they funeral home, that's not much fun. So we do almost every memorial service at Harbor Docks. We've got drinks, we've got everything. I told Chatham and Eddie one time, what we ought to do, we ought to sell like some kind of crummy insurance policy so your loved one won't have to fool with it.
We'll hold your wake.
We'll take care of everything. We'll do the wake. We'll do the burial at sea. We'll do the cremation. We'll do everything.
Yeah.
For your loved one. And Eddie said, well, how are we going to do the cremation? The thing we smoked tuna on back in the back of the kicker. We cut them up in little pieces and put them in there and burn them up. But we probably do between 4 or 5 burials at sea every year.
There was a memorial service when I was there, and all the locals were there. And what I can remember from that, I don't know, I guess I was 26, 25 maybe, is a couple of the just salty kind of fishermen gave the most poignant speeches.
Yeah.
And a lot of really quick-witted humor, making, light of whoever the deceased or whatever. It was good stuff.
Yeah, fishermen are a special breed, and that's what we've been. To call it a fishing village now would not be accurate. Not just because there's so much other stuff and tourists, but fishermen, the old fishermen, now it's more of a amusement type thing to take people out on a boat and catch some little things. In the old days, they were commercial fishermen. They chartered when they could get a charter, and then they commercial fished the other time. And they were incredibly good fishermen. In Destin, the only thing we've exported 2 things ever in Destin: GNS boats, which Buddy Gentry and Steve Sauer built. I have 2 of the boats, the Hey Baby and the Poppy, the first boat they ever built and the prettiest boat they ever built. We all knew. They built 52 boats here in 16 different countries, all around the world.
Just 52?
They built 52 boats over 50 years. More world records have been set on GNS boats than Hatteras, Bertrams, and Vikings combined. Wow. They were the boat of fishermen, so all over the world. We exported those boats, and with them, we exported these young captains. There were hotshot captains. So any major fishing port in Costa Rica or Madeira or in Venezuela, anywhere you go in Hawaii, they've heard of Destin, Florida. And our emissary was these boat captains that came from Destin. And that's something to be proud of.
Yeah, no doubt. What is it specifically about that boat that makes it
Steve Sauer
friendly?
He was a genius. He went to architecture school at LSU, and he and Buddy started building boats in the 70s, and Buddy was brilliant at it. He was a fisherman, and they were just really good at it. But I could show you why they're such pretty boats. But people that know about boats, a Viking, you go to a marina in the Bahamas with a Viking and there's 6 Vikings lined up, and what do you tell the guy next to you? Boy, that's a pretty boat you got. Yeah, your boat. It's like parking next to a Ford pickup truck. When we take one of our boats to any of those places, deckhands and captains that know come out and they go, "Is that a GNS?" They go, "Yeah," and they go, they know.
Huh.
They're something to be proud of.
Yeah. Wow.
For our town.
My son and I, my son's going in the restaurant business like your son's. I'll need some advice there because you've done great with that. But we were talking the other day, and I was talking about how my dream at the time I worked with you, my dream was, because there were all these fellow servers who were also ski bums, and they would work in Colorado during the winter and just ski and teach, and then they'd come and wait tables at Harbor Docks or in the Panhandle and surf and wait tables. And it was just this culture of service personnel went back and forth. And at the time, you had a restaurant in Crested Butte.
We did.
And I was telling him that was my first dream in a restaurant was Charles has done that. I'd love to have a restaurant in Destin and a restaurant in Aspen was the time. I wouldn't have been able to afford any of them. But the Crested Butte play, what I remember is the T-shirt, and it said something to the effect of, 7,000 feet above sea level.
12,000.
12,000 feet above sea level, 2 degrees below zero. The only thing not frozen on this mountain is our fish. And they would send tuna and other fresh fish. They would send tuna and other fresh fish from the seafood market in the back of the. And I remember y'all had a big pole with a nail, and you'd stick a fresh tuna outside that restaurant in Colorado. I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
That is pretty awesome.
What was the name of that place? I couldn't remember.
Gulf Coast Grill.
Gulf Coast Grill.
Brilliant idea, and it was a total failure. we did it for 3 years.
Yeah.
So, and for one thing,
Thank you.
people forget that back then Crested Butte is a wonderful place, and it's the Callaways had it then from Georgia, and we.
Was it your connection with them that got you out there?
Nah, we had been there. Fritz Clark, an old Delta pilot, had got us out there to start with. But it was their season was so short. It was after Thanksgiving for a few days and then nothing. And then from Christmas to New Year's and then a little. It's not like now. And back then, they didn't really have a summer season. Now summer's busier than the winter.
Right.
But transferring the employees, it was all great. And we had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
We terrorized as best we could. And Crested Butte's really high, way taller than Aspen. So with that low level of oxygen, we still managed to misbehave. And
Well, that was my early dream. It was because he had done that, and I was like, oh, that would be so cool. You think about it. I mean, both of the seasons are complementary, but like you say now, I guess the summer season is really. So when you first started, this is another thing Charles has done well. And Drew knows I'm a student. I like a PhD just in restaurants because I just nerd out about it.
You love restaurants.
But I love restaurants. Eat, sleep, and breathe them.
For sure.
But you've been able to scale and expand, and I've done it and still doing it. I'm not going to stop doing it. I don't know if you're going to stop doing it. We probably both are cursed with going to never retire and keep doing it. But the way you have scaled has been very smart, and I think it goes back again to culture and leadership from the top. And you don't command, you just earn loyalty, I think, from your people. But if a 21-year-old, let's say a 26-year-old came to you and said, Charles, I want to open a restaurant. You can't talk me out of it, because we've had that discussion, because I always say, you want me to talk you into it or out of it? But what would you tell them is the key? So
if we can actually just get right here, we can slide it across. Yeah, you're good.
Penny chicken?
Yeah.
right over there.
Oh my gosh. Unreal.
You're going to fall asleep.
Oh my gosh.
Right there.
Be careful, the top plate's really, really hot. That black pepper?
Yeah, that's me. Look at that.
Y'all enjoy.
Thank you.
What would you tell a young person wanting to get in the restaurant business and not going to be able to get talked out of it? What the key to your success has been?
well, I tell you, Robert, and we come from different approaches to this.
Yeah.
Because you are a student of restaurants and restaurant experts and all that. I think what we try to do is dumb it down as much as possible. And our employee manual is it might be 3 pages. And the number one thing on that manual is you have to be on time. And we really mean it.
I remember.
And we really do. And it's not a big leap of faith to know that people that can always be on time, they're generally almost always going to have other talents as well. And then you just got to get lucky. And the harder you work, the lucky you get. I had read an article in the New York Times 20 years ago that said that college towns avoid recessions. That was the headline. And we were about to have one here. And I went to visit Eddie. My oldest son was in school. First time I'd been in Tuscaloosa. I went to school there. First time I'd been there in 30 years. Never even driven through the town. Saw him, was walking down the street. This guy called me that I'd taken to the Bahamas years ago, bone fishing and lobster. Called me, didn't know the guy. He's not a particularly nice guy. And he wanted some information about the Bahamas, and he asked me, he said, if I was still in the restaurant business. I hadn't seen him in 10 years. I said, yes. He said, I've got your restaurant. I'll be there in 7 minutes. He pulled up to a restaurant that had been shuttered for 12 years. It had been
Downtown Tuscaloosa?
Plywood. Half the downtown had plywood on it. That restaurant, 2 doctors had gotten a chef guy named Armand, who was brilliant. But you know how doctors are as investors, not always real.
Yeah. Well,
They'd been open for a year. It closed. He bought it at an auction. It had been sitting there for 12 years. And we walked in. I looked at it. I had no intention of opening a restaurant anywhere. I asked him how much he wanted. He told me that we want 5 steps inside the restaurant. I said, I'll take it. I shook his hand. He said, you want to see the upstairs? There's 120 seats upstairs. I didn't know. There's the downstairs prep rooms and kitchens and walk-ins. It's 3 stories, had elevators. The pilot lights were on. The ice machine was dropping ice. It had been closed for 12 years.
is that Chuck's?
So we got lucky. And that was the right time. The next year, saving game, Richard Shelby was one of the most powerful U.S. senators, just funneling money to his hometown of Tuscaloosa. Robert Witt was the president that put Malmore on the plane to go get Nick Saban.
Right.
And he pioneered the approach where Tuscaloosa, Alabama has 64% of the kids are from out of state, paying triple the tuition.
Right.
It tastes amazing. It tastes amazing. Seriously.
Distiller.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so that all just, there wouldn't have been another one. If that, I tell people all the time, if that wouldn't have worked, there wouldn't have been a second one. But it did work, and so we.
And so you have Chuck's Fish. How many Chuck's Fish? 3? 7. All right. Tuscaloosa, Athens, Birmingham.
Tuscaloosa, Athens, Birmingham, Mobile, Huntsville, Tallahassee, Montgomery.
How do you trust all the people it requires to run there? That's what I struggle with, you know.
I like to trust people.
Yeah.
All right.
I get really disappointed when it doesn't work out.
And so 5, I've always suspected, I'm about to find out or not, was 5 inspired by this place we're sitting in right here?
1,000%.
You called it.
Yeah.
Well, I took Oliver up there, and I told him, I said, there are more Red Bar t-shirts in Tuscaloosa than there's anything else. And we looked, Kenny Stabler was a buddy of mine. He was still there, and he had a restaurant. And it was going down. We went and looked at it, and Oliver, it was open, but barely. And Oliver said, ooh, you could smell one of restaurants.
Yeah.
And
Literally almost smell. It's not getting taken care of.
this multi-unit stuff's not for everybody. And Oliver had this thing rolling, so he didn't do it. But when we did it, when Oliver had 331, what was the name of it, right up on the bridge here, he had a room, I don't think it was this big, and he probably had, this has 4 or 5 chandeliers in it. It had about 20 chandeliers in it.
And that's the decor.
It was stupid, and I like that.
Yeah.
So I found a place, big chandelier in Atlanta.
It was stupid, and I like that. That's a t-shirt right there. I love that.
There's a lesson there. The guy that owns that, it's got Jack. I was on my way out of town from 14th Street. It was about 8:30 in the morning. Had a sign on the front of the door
In Tuscaloosa.
in Atlanta. And it said 10 to 5, hours 10 to 5. I saw the chandeliers in there. I saw this guy sweeping the floor, and I just tapped on the window. I don't know, the majority of the time somebody's going to point to the sign.
Yeah, right.
This was Jack, the guy that owned it, and he opened the door, and he and his family had vacationed with us in the Bahamas since, and we've we bought enough chandeliers from him and we've used that as lighting in lots of restaurants.
But the first 5 was in Tuscaloosa?
And I got that from all over. We use chandeliers all the time. They're incredible.
So the chandelier inspiration, I'll call it, that's what I call it, came from Ollie. But also the 5 menu, which goes totally against I would love to, I told him before, I wish I had the discipline to only have 5 entrees.
Well,
It's such a beautiful
we were in Athens, and I'm always very confused about the state of chicken fingers in this world.
Agreed.
Nobody been to I've never seen a Raising Cane's, so somebody went to get us food from Raising Cane's, and they only have one thing to eat: chicken fingers, Texas toast, coleslaw.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
lemonade.
And tea and lemonade. That's it.
And I'm not sure Oliver still does 5 reds and 5 whites, but that's enough. I don't care who you are, how much money you got. If you can't, you should be able to get by with 5 red wines and white wines.
So with 5, how many of those?
2, one at college towns, Athens
And Tuscaloosa.
and we have a Chuck's in Tallahassee.
And then there's Dharma Blue in Pensacola.
Dharma Bluesman, they're 30 years.
You're a restaurant mogul.
Dang, man.
You know, now here's something. This is something that I do differently than Robert, just because I don't know how to do it basically. But we are sort of trend averse.
Yeah.
And when I say trends, I'm thinking anything different than what I was doing 35, 40 years ago. But in Tallahassee, when we first got going, it was a couple of days before we opened, we were training. They had their staff there. We got an outdoor bar, and we had a guy, I think the term hipster, it's kind of like a Brooklyn look, plaid shirt, tattoos, beard, long hair,
Right.
maybe some rings and chips. But that was the bartender they'd hired. And I was just standing in the back and watching him, and they had some hay on the table, and they had a glass, and they'd done some smoke in the glass. And I kept watching them put something together. And he got the mixers. You want to stand there? You went,
Yeah.
and I just kept like, he did that for about 45 seconds. And I said, oh shit. So this guy's not going to make it. A really good gin and tonic with a nice wedge of lime with good gin and good tonic water. When we grew up, we like to sling a lot of drinks, rum and coke, scotch and waters. And so the whole craft and curate, the 2 words that I don't use, craft and curated. Curated means put together.
Right.
If you're going to curate an art production, got it. But I'm over the craft burgers and the craft this and the craft that and the curated this. And the craft cocktails is just a bit much for me.
So keeping it simple works for you.
I'm with you on the hipster. There's no hospitality. I call it hipster indifferent. And that's what you get. They can't be, to be a hipster, you can't be polite, really. You've got to seem indifferent and over it. You got to be over it to be an authentic hipster.
But if you Stevie,
the hospitality
our bartender Stevie there today, Mike's there tonight. And our deal, they're selling an expensive drink. That's one thing. And this is, I'm sure, not real kosher anymore, but we like to sell lots of drinks.
Right.
And we did it till 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So I've kind of missed out on all that. And then, things come and go. The bourbon deal. Okay. Whatever.
Tequila's on the wane now. It was tequila after bourbon.
So we've avoided purposely
Trends.
Yeah, one of the unusual things about the Chuck's in Tuscaloosa, we never would have done this otherwise, but he's got a pizza oven. The wood burning pizza oven was there, and you got Renato's that come out of Austin. He had 2 Italian brothers that came over and built this. We've got a wood burning grill that's about 48, maybe 60 inches, and it's got a rotisserie on top of the wood burning grill. We've got an ice cream and a bakery upstairs, and we've got our sushi bar. And if you were going to open a restaurant and looking for investors or whatever, and you said, I got an idea. We're going to have fresh seafood, and we got great steaks. We're going to have steaks, and we're going to have pizzas, and we're going to have sushi. Anybody in their right mind would say that might be a little bit much, but we pull it off.
You do pull it off.
We sold a ton of pizzas.
No one was. You started Sushi in 91, 92. I think Yoshi said. When did she say?
6 years ago.
Yeah. So that's like 89, right? 89.
Wow.
To my knowledge, in 1989, maybe a place in Atlanta.
At a Benihana's over in the corner, everybody's at the hibachi tables.
What are they doing over there eating raw fish is what people would think.
Yeah.
I played racquetball with a guy, Rusty Rushton. He was
Pretty content. You're welcome.
a restaurant guy and had come from Seattle. And when we finished, he wanted to go eat sushi. Now, I'd never had it. And we went up to the strip center.
In Atlanta?
Right here.
Oh, here.
And it was a Korean restaurant, and it was about to go out of business. And Yoshi was napping on one of the benches when we walked in there. We were alone, and she hopped up and got behind the Ojisaki. And I mean, I know I had an avocado and garlic roll. And just in a matter of this was like on a Tuesday, just in a matter of conversation, I said, you got to do this at Harbor Docks. And she said, she lived at Hurlburt. Her husband was there. She said, I drive by Harbor Docks every day. She said, I'll start Friday.
Okay.
A Friday afternoon, she comes in with a little short 3-foot Oshisaki and a cooler with all the gear in it. And all those guys at the bar, same fisherman gals going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And she is a remarkable on every level.
Yeah. That sushi we had
Total integrity.
was unbelievable.
And funny as hell. And she knew she was dealing with rednecks, and so she'd say, you look like you might be redneck. I've got spam. She'd make a spam roll. And she bastardized everything that she'd learned from her family in Japan.
Right.
Fried crunchy shrimp roll, a cowboy roll with beef in it. So she tricked people into that, and the next thing you knew, they were eating raw octopus. So that was, you take 36 years. So somebody that was there when they were 21 is now 57. They had their first sushi, and now they've got grandchildren.
Yeah.
And I mean, little kids, my little kid, I got 8 grandkids. Those little kids eat it.
Yeah.
And how many of your places serve sushi? Because I know Camille's does.
All
Everybody.
the Chucks, Camille's, Dharma Blue. And there's probably 40 sushi places around here. And Yoshi's trained probably half the people.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's one of the first she gets them trained up and people steal them.
That's wild. And then to have that many people that work for you that long, we talked about that. Like, she's been there since what 80s?
89.
How do you keep? Is it because you're not following fads? You have like a North Star. We were talking about integrity earlier, but is it because I think a lot of people follow the fads because it's something to get excited about. Like maybe they're not excited about day to day, but is it like, how do you keep everybody with you and not? What do you get excited about? How do you stay consistent?
Well, I think first of all, they know that it's important to me. Some people, it might not be quite that important. They might not realize the value of it, or they might not be in a business, maybe a fast food business or something, where that doesn't work. When it starts out, and we have our first meetings with our staff, we go in with this: you got to be on time. We don't care where you came from, what you look like, what your sex is, what your ethnicity. We don't care about any of that shit, because you're going to have to be on time. And I'm going to tell you, if you'll do that, here's the things that we'll do for you. And I list them. You get in trouble, we have a lawyer in every town that we operate. You're 21 years old, you might not have access to a lawyer. You might not have access to a bank. If you need some money, we'll help you. If you get sick, we'll help you. If you're short your tuition, we'll help you. I go down the whole list of different things that we'll do. We're going to take you fishing. If you work here, we take you fishing. Now, all these different restaurants went fishing this summer. But we'll do all those things, and in return, we ask that you be on time. And then over the period, and the thing is, you don't have to do something for everybody. You don't have to do something for the mass majority of them, but you do. And we do what we say we'll do. And when you do that, everybody knows that you're not bullshitting them. And they're away from home. Maybe they didn't have a good home anyway, but they know there's a little cushion.
Home base.
There's a net, if they get in trouble,
Support.
we'll help them.
Love, care, and support.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what parents would want. And then in those college towns, we have the people that are brilliant, that major in anthropology, which is a wonderful thing to study, but not a lot of job practice, 4 or 5 teacher processes in the whole state. And if they've shown that they're good in the restaurant business, we try to, hey, we're opening up one on the other thing we tell people, we use the same systems at all the restaurants. If you want a job on the beach, if you've never been to the beach for the summer, you don't even have to tell us. Just go down there and clock in. Let us know when you're doing. If you've never been in a town before and you think Birmingham's a city, you want to go to
That's what I'm talking about right there. It's totally against I love it. I think he thinks I've been against it for a long time. I can pick up when he says things, but I admire it so much that everything they do is totally against typical restaurant philosophy and how to run a business. And he pulls it off better than those people following the man, which we're probably guilty of being, but I think his influence on me has probably taken me a little over to that. And tell Drew about what y'all do at Thanksgiving. And you do this at all the restaurants or Harbor Dock?
Not every single one, but 5 or 6 of them.
This definitely had influence on me and any kind of philanthropic ideas I had. I was a very selfish, self-centered person, but his example, tell Drew.
We had a wonderful woman, Ann Jones, an African-American from Andalusia. She'd been down here. She worked at the Holiday Inn. I got her. She was our meat and 3 cook, made her gumbo. And one year she cooks Thanksgiving type food. She said, we want to open for Thanksgiving. We said, we can't do that. I said, we can't ask people to work on Thanksgiving. I said, but I'll tell you what we'll do. I said, let's do it, and we won't charge anybody for it. And we'll raise money for the volunteers.
Wow.
So that was her idea, but I tweaked to that point. So the first couple of years, we did a couple hundred people because they thought it was for homeless folks. Yeah. And I would tell people, I said, we want rich people. We don't have that many homeless people. No. We want people with lots of money. And for about the last 10 years, we do over 2,000 every Thanksgiving. Habitat.
At Harbor Dock.
Yeah, we've got people.
Turkey dressing, the whole.
It's really, really good. And we have people from all over. You'd be surprised how many don't want to mess with Thanksgiving, and they come and leave nice checks. And there's homeless people sitting here. There's other people sitting here. And it's everyone feels better when they leave. That's the one thing November's our month. We're having our auction Saturday for Take a Kid Fishing. And for about 30 years, we realized there's a bunch of kids around here that my kids grew up on a boat. A lot of people didn't. So we've taken, I saw the number 40 times. We've taken over 9,000 kids fishing, and we pay the charter boats. We had 52 charter boats last year. When the charter boats come, we got the handicapped kids that go on head boats. We got them breakfast. The donut hole has donuts. We give them breakfast. They go fishing. They come back. We have a fish fry. Every kid gets a T-shirt and a rod and reel.
They get a rod and reel and a T-shirt.
The build up to it takes some work. But they get there about 6 o'clock in the morning. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, somebody asked me, they said, do you have insurance for that? And I said, I'm trying to get an insurance policy for a boy. No, we don't. But first time all the kids don't come back, it might be the last year we do it.
Wow.
And the other thing we do in the college towns, and this was Chatham, he took a course in school.
Did he go to Alabama too?
Uh-huh. And his idea was that a lot of folks, when it comes to food banks, they don't have transportation. So we got a food truck. There are a lot of food trucks on the market. That's a good idea, but it doesn't work out so well. The first food truck we got was totally equipped with a kitchen. Then I realized we didn't need that. We got restaurants that are health certified. Cook the food in the restaurant, put it on the truck, and just take the van and deliver it. We got a tent that rolls out. And we do that 3 days a week in the college towns. And the kids that work for us, we pay them
How good?
if they'll do it.
Yeah.
This
I
is
hated
wonderful.
mine.
I'm gonna nibble.
I crushed that. I licked the plate.
I'll take some tea when you.
I licked it. I'm not shy. It's on camera.
All right, back up, because
The kids that work for us man the truck, and we pay them. If they'll put in 100 hours, we pay them for doing that. And it's wonderful.
and you just go around and you give away food.
We mostly go to church parking lots. It's tough. Some inner cities don't want us there because we're feeding the homeless population, so we find churches normal. And what the mistake that nobody in my group makes it ever, but when they they do a nice little story or something. I don't like phrases that get into our society. And if nobody in my group ever says we're giving back to the community.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
We are the community.
Yeah.
We're fucking right here. We're not doing this. We're doing it. You can count on. We're doing it because we want to.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody making us do this, and we're damn sure not giving back to the community. I'm tired. That's an overused phrase.
I totally agree with that. And I say it all the time that to give back, you have to have received something first.
Yeah,
You're
wouldn't
giving back.
We
You
wouldn't
should
be
just
doing it if
give.
we didn't make money.
You should just give. But again, Charles Morgan has inspired me because my food trailer out back, and that's my plan, is 100% inspired by them. I've got a trailer now, and we're just gonna go and show up and play. I need to pick your brain on
You do so. You
things
got your
you've learned
food
about.
bank. And
Yeah.
We have a thing called Destin Harbor. We delivered over 2 million pounds of food last year.
that's killer.
Wow.
George Landegger, who was a big industrialist, he was in Connecticut, New York. He and his grandson Karsten worked with Dang that y'all saw today. Nobody tells this guy what to do. He's 87 years old, and he's had pulp mills in 29 different countries. And he and Dang, he was plating the turkey, and Dang got it. She stands on a milk crate to stand at her. She shook her knife and said, "Too much turkey." He wasn't portioning the turkey out right.
Yeah.
But they were 15 years ago. They went back to New York. And on the Monday after Thanksgiving, I got a call from Mary Rogers, his assistant. She said, "Charles, this is Mary Rogers." She said, "George really enjoyed the Thanksgiving, and he wants to start a Destin Harvest." And I said, "Well, hold on now." I said, "That sounds like something that would require raising money."
Right.
And I don't know what it is. She said, "Well, look up City Harvest in New York." And I did. And George was instrumental in the start of that.
Right.
And I said, "Well, look," I said, we got our hands full. We take kids fishing, we feed them on things. And I said, "I don't know where we get the money." She said, "You won't have to raise any money." She said, "George will pay for it." I said, "What do we need?" She said, "You need 2 refrigerated trucks, 3 drivers, an office with 2 people in the office staff." She said, "Go get them." Now that's a guy.
Yeah.
He ain't just giving back. He is actually the only true philanthropist that I know at every level. They're rare, and he is one of them. And I've learned a lot from him.
See, the world needs more Charles Morgans.
Yeah, man. It's impressive.
There are a lot of people that would argue with you.
Well, they'd be wrong.
It's kind of daunting, actually. I'm sitting here. I think it's more important to listen to what you had to say, honestly, than I don't really even have a question for you other than how do you maintain? How do you keep going and what? Because I think so many people are looking. We need, like you said, we need more of you. But how do we make more of you?
Well, I want to break with Robert when he thinks we're doomed to be doing this the rest of our lives, because I've seen 2 things. Mike Bodner, who's owned hundreds of restaurants, they got 250 now all over. He's in Nashville. I've learned a lot from him. Totally different approach to restaurants, everything. Totally different. And
The Jim and Nick's crew and all those guys.
George Landegger is 87. Mike's 80. I've never heard either one of them. And they've been through medical issues recently. I've never heard either one of them once, and I've been around them a bunch for many years. I've never heard one of them say they were tired. I've never heard one of them refer to their age. Nothing.
Yeah.
And it's impressive.
Yeah.
And they're driven in different ways for different reasons. And so I would like to think I'll always be busy, but look, I'm not paying attention to any of our restaurants today, and I'm probably not tomorrow either. So
I don't know what I'd do.
Yoshi's son,
it's my fun.
You've met Chris before. Yoshi's son started working for us when he was 14. He went off to school and came back, and he is now 49, and he runs everything. And he's like his mother. One of the ways he is like a savant when it comes to names. He would know 12 different people's names in this restaurant. But it's real handy when you're in our business.
Yeah, absolutely, because I'm terrible at it. But so he's your is he basically chief operations officer?
Yeah, he's partner.
Partner?
He's got a big part of it, of everything that I've got.
That's great.
And he's young and aggressive and eager. And
tell me how that relationship started. Did he come to you or did you go to him?
I went to him. He worked here when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Then he came and worked on the deck for a while. Then he went back to school. And the first guy that I had to run the place in Tuscaloosa didn't work out. And I was up there. I couldn't do it, so I called Chris. And it's a college town. He was young. He was 20 years younger. He was 29. A college town.
Yeah.
That was getting ready to do this.
Yeah.
No, it was like, yes, sir. And they've been there ever since.
Drew, I've been hogging the conversation. I want Drew, because I know he's got several questions.
I want to talk about the Red Bar, why you wanted to
I
eat
do
here. Because, and maybe like a nice memory you have here. Because this place, we talked with Ollie, and I told him about how my dad recognizing Jabo Starks, explaining to me he's James Brown's drummer. It's like something I'll remember forever. I've never had an experience like that in a restaurant, ever. And it's a unique situation. Talk to me about this place and maybe what you enjoy about this place. We kind of talked about it in a general sense, but maybe more specific.
So this place, it was a game room. It wasn't even a bar, but in the maybe the 50s, but in the 60s, this is where the folks on Defuniak Springs would come down here and get in fights and stuff. This was rural.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Defuniak Springs people and Birmingham people were the two groups that founded this area. And they had those wonderful little beach houses that Seaside copied, and they did a great job.
Yeah.
But so it became the Paradise Cafe, which was miraculous. Here's a business lesson for you. Skip, I don't think he's still around. Johnny Earls is working at that Margaritaville, I believe. They had this, and I'm close. They got real busy real quick, and it was Louisiana style, and it was good. And the rent was like $600 or something. Well, the guys that owned it, the local people from Defuniak, they had a couple of years lease. They raised the rent to $900. They left and went and opened in a strip center in Fort Walton Beach.
I remember that.
And I don't think they made it for a year.
On the west side of town.
That was the end of that. And then the guy that had the Bay Cafe, he had it for a while, and I can't even remember what. He wasn't a Frenchman, but he came off as, he wanted people to think he was a Frenchman. He was European. And Pierre.
Yeah.
And he had it for a year or two, and not much happened. And Oliver, I think, was working here.
Right.
And Oliver comes from a deep, his father has done it all. I mean, his daddy wasn't a civil rights attorney.
Yeah.
His daddy was a restaurant guy at the upper level. It still is.
Maitre d'.
So he knew what he was doing. Where he came up with the idea, I have no idea. And I've talked to him about how he accumulates this. I think Oliver might classify as a hoarder. but he's made it work.
Yeah.
I mean, the UPS truck goes to his house every day. He goes to eBay or one of those things, and I think he at night he has all this shit shows up, and he look at it.
The thing.
So
I'm good. Let me hand you this.
it was really good.
Anybody interested in hearing about dessert?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
We'll split. Maybe we'll split it or
New
something.
homemade key lime pie, homemade bread pudding with a bourbon sauce. And those are both the in-house made. And then we have a New York style cheesecake with chocolate sauce, a 4-layer chocolate cake, and tiramisu. And I can add 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream with chocolate sauce to any of those desserts, which I recommend with the bread pudding.
I am key lime pied out. I've
That
every
cheesecake
day.
sounds
It's gonna
pretty
be
good.
great.
Bread pudding.
Cheesecake, please. Yeah.
I want cheesecake too, but no chocolate, just plain cheesecake. Yeah.
Chocolate. Let's roll.
All out with the ice cream on yours? Sure. All right.
Let's go.
So anyway, I don't know where he came up with this. I don't know where he came up with the 5 things. I don't know. But he had been he came with a friend of his, Chuck Stiles. They were roommates. Chuck opened Graffitis. It was in Destin, did really well, and then he went to Sandestin. He's had several restaurants, but Oliver knew what he wanted. He had a vision, and he had the background to pull it off. And for these rednecks down here, he's exotic.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's fucking weird. He's from Belgium.
Belgium.
He's good looking and all, and he charmed the hell out of everybody. I mean, what? Why wouldn't it have worked?
Larger than life personality.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing that I'm impressed by this place a lot. It's like I told him today, I think you'll agree with me. Anybody in the restaurant business would look at this and go, it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. Limited menu. People are packed in here. It's casual. Everybody's happy. All of that is great. I think amazing numbers in merchandise. Charles does a lot of merchandise. I would love to do the merchandise
everybody has the
he does
Red Bar
out of that
t-shirt.
little room over there. But when this burned down, and I came back after a couple of years, I guess, and walked in, it looked exactly. I mean, and this is hard to recreate. It looked. Do you agree with that? I mean, it looks
I was
feels
standing out there with
exactly
Oliver.
the same.
It was still burning. We were standing right out there. It was a hell of a fire. He jumped some traps. Oliver, I don't think he drinks. Yeah. I don't think he's ever. That helps a lot. And I don't know. He just said this area was right for it, and that's why I'm so proud of it. It's so different than everything else up and down here, and maybe that's
It's real. It's not contrived. It's not. Your place is real. There's no somebody sitting there going, let's create this. It just happens organically. Harbor Docks grew organically.
It's real and it's unique. I mean, people say I don't ever think I've ever seen anything quite like this. That's hard to do.
Well, if someone said make something like the Red Bar, I'm sitting here thinking, how would you do it? Because it's a perfect mixture of caring a great deal and not caring at all, like the hipster. But it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I don't
because
think-
it would be fake.
I've got it here.
This is real.
Now that we're talking about in our world things I have a problem with.
Right.
It's dive bars. You can't build a dive bar.
No.
Sorry.
No, a dive
but
bar
they
happens.
do. They're all over the place and they're real popular.
A resort dive bar.
But I mean, a dive bar I think should be by definition 50 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't. And it's not.
It didn't start out to be a dive bar. It started out as a bar, and it became divey.
Yeah.
It just again organically. It just happens organically. You can't conceive that.
And the old alcoholics are still sitting at the bar.
Yeah.
But younger people can come in, but you can't have a dive bar where everybody in there is under 30.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
The old men
Yeah.
at 3 PM.
There you go.
So yeah, I don't, and these are this is, I think you said a pork chop before. This is, the menu has not changed.
Yeah, definitely that grouper and the penne chicken, and there's always been a
Manicotti.
pasta.
Yes, no, and I think he might have had a pork chop. That's been the menu virtually the entire time. And they might, if they show you one, it was more, for years and years and years, they had no appetizers.
I remember that.
They don't-
5 entrees.
You in,
That's
you
it.
out.
And I don't know if
Y'all
they.
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
We got 2 hours of people out there, and or
maybe one dessert.
Yeah,
Maybe one dessert, I
yeah. And
think.
he really didn't want to sell you that one.
Yeah.
He wanted you in, and he wanted you out.
Yeah.
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 Drink and eat, be gone.
Well, with a band, you hang out, drink a little bit more. But anyway.
You know what we've done at our restaurant? We're still doing stuff, and what we've got at restaurants that never used to have them, we're adding food runners and drink runners to get drinks to the table, rapid fire, and we're busting tables because that's all we can do at the restaurants. You're busy, is turn the tables quicker. We want to turn them quicker, and we don't want people sitting around waiting for a ticket. So we're just speeding things up.
That's smart.
He got that figured out way ahead of that.
Yeah. Drew's a musician. Ollie's a musician. You and I are music lovers. You kind of planted your flag early on in live music. Do you still do live music at all? There's no room to do it, is
We
there?
had downstairs. We've had James McMurtry down there several times.
Nice.
We had Edwin played. When we started in about 82 or 83, 84, we didn't, booking bands is not that easy, but we were getting people. We got Edwin McCain for about $300 and with a band, and he had that song "I'll Be" came out a couple weeks after the first time. And the first time he was here, he was maybe 23 years old. He had on combat boots and all that shit, and we stayed up all night and had a cobia fishing trip in the morning. And Mike Woodham, who I love, but he's a mean son of a bitch, and that's who I fished with. And we're there, and Edwin comes stumbling down the thing. He wanted to go fishing, and it was rough.
Yeah.
And Mike said, "Who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
He's going to get in the way." I could perform,
Yeah.
even
right.
once, but he gets on the boat, and by the time the day was over, they're still dear close friends with a mean old boat captain and Edwin, and he hung in there, a rock guy. We caught cobia right and left, and he just never complained or anything.
Nice.
So we were friends forever and ever and ever. He took the cure. He waited 3 or 4 years after I did, so he's about 15 or 16 years. And one of the things that meant more to me than anything, Edwin told me, he said, I was the exact same way. He said, I was afraid that I would never have any fun anymore. And he said, I've been watching you, and you look like you're still having
There you
fun.
go.
Man,
He
that's
went to
powerful.
He went to the Talbot Center in Atlanta, where they keep you for 6 months for the hard-headed ones. Oh, baby. But Edwin's got a whole new career now. He's traveling right now with Train. But we had Leon Russell 3 or 4 times. We had Delbert McClinton twice. We had
Yeah, Mac McAnally, who I'm great friends with today. Mac is going to be on the podcast. So
tell him I said hello.
I will definitely do it. I had Jay, who was booking music for you back in those days, who's now at Seascape, I guess, forever. But Jay had he recorded a weekend of McAnally. It's like 3 weekends, and I got him to make some cassettes for me. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but for a long time, this is before CDs, maybe a little after CDs, but I had no way to burn them. And those cassettes were so valuable. At Harbor Dock, you open the show, you say, I need to send you this. Welcome to Harbor Dock. I use this line now a lot of times when I'm doing something. I'm spoiling this. I shouldn't be telling it. But welcome to Harbor Docks. And you say something about, I hear we got some wild guys from Atlanta here. And then you say, we're filming tonight. I don't know what you were filming for, but you say, if you're here with somebody you shouldn't be, you've been warned. Yeah. And then McAnally comes up and he says, all right, cheaters and terrorists, beware. Yeah. It's a great, and
with the Coldplay concert recently, that's actually a thing.
Oh,
now.
yeah,
It went viral. It's
the
like,
HR thing.
yeah.
But if there were a fire back in about 1989 till I finally got it on CD, I would have probably run out of the house with a couple of pictures of the kids and those cassettes from Harbor Docks that were just priceless to me.
I saw Matt like a few years ago, and I was asking him because I don't have any question that of the Jimmy Buffett traveling band wrestling years, he was by far the best musician up on that stage. And I mean, I said, Mac, what's it like, touring with Jimmy Buffett, all this time, So, well, he said, we just did 22 cities, and they went from Seattle to Portland to Denver to Minneapolis, San Diego, and they went all over the place. He told me everywhere they went, and he said every night we stayed at a Four Seasons hotel in San Diego. We flew a G5 to every show and flew home every night. I slept in the bed, same bed. He's pretty nice.
Yeah.
They used to travel on a station wagon,
There's not a finer man on the planet
No, he's
than
special.
McAnally, and he's so talented, he's so humble and so modest.
We're friends with Robbie Greenidge, the steel pan player that played with Jimmy. So he was on tour with
He's
them
good,
for
man.
great.
We had
great group of people.
We did all kinds of stuff. We had Major Handy and the Wolf Kushan, and he's still doing it. And they were a hell of a Zydeco band from someplace. We had him. He was up there. I had to walk up. There's a good-looking guy. They had the accordion going, and he was a showman. And somebody had called and went and got somebody. And they said his wife has just had a heart attack, and they're on the way taking her to the hospital in Bow Ridge, Louisiana, or somewhere. And so I went up there in between songs and said, "Hey, man, I don't know which one. You just got a call. Your wife's just had a heart attack. She's on the way out." He said, "She'll be all right. We go back home."
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Wow. Goodness.
Oh, you needed to get him a bigger piece of bread pudding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
You hungry?
Y'all enjoy this.
Thank you. Phone eats first here.
Oh, okay. I'm going to give you some cheesecake
No, I
then.
don't want any cheesecake.
All right.
All right, Robert, you hit him with. Oh, thank you. Hit him with your signature question.
All right. So, Charles, you're a kid, you're 12, you're at home. Your mom asks, Charles, it's your birthday. I'm going to cook you whatever you want. What's your favorite meal growing up that your mom cooked? What's your answer to that question your mom poses to you? What's that meal?
I'm older than you are.
Yeah.
And
And why?
this is not one of them, but we were talking the other day about TV dinners.
Yeah, I remember.
When TV dinners came out, wow, we thought that was something. My mom would cook a deal. She was a good cook, but not.
Yeah.
She was busy. She would slit hot dogs and stuff them with cheese and wrap them in bacon, and we'd eat that, and lima beans, and an ambrosia salad. That's about all I remember.
Ambrosia.
And when we grew up, there were no restaurants. In Atlanta, there was the Varsity, and there was Mary Mac's, and I'm now a partner in Mary Mac's.
Are you really?
And they're 75 years. But the Varsity is still my all-time favorite.
See, my mom, she was pretty good cook at stuff, but she always taught school, so she worked. But gumbo, she could make really good gumbo. My meal, though, if she asked, I always had it. And I've got a picture, it popped up in my memories, even towards about 4 or 5 years maybe before the end. She made it for it was stuffed peppers. And Jill doesn't like them, my kids didn't like them, but I'd love them, and they'd endure. We go over to my mom's house and have stuffed peppers. Oh, mashed potatoes and English peas.
Cooked with love, made with love.
What's your meal?
Little would have been goulash. My mom made a great goulash. But then, she's from outside Chicago. My dad's from Lafayette, Louisiana. Culture shock. She learned how to make crawfish etouffee.
Oh, that's good.
And I hate to say it on camera, it's better than my mom Claudette's. It's better than my dad's mom's. Like, it's insane.
I like that.
She earned it, It's one of those. I'm not from there, so I got to earn it, and it's delicious. So I'd say her crawfish etouffee. It's my birthday gift every year. It's my
One of the benefits of being in the restaurant business, this is a New Orleans story. I was over there with some guys misbehaving out late at night.
In New Orleans?
I got up the next morning. We were staying at the Windsor Court, walked right over to Mother's to get a Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
And when we were walking out, there's a guy sitting at the table, big beard, heavy-set guy, chef's coat, and I figured he was the owner. I just said, hey, man, you got a great restaurant. He said, thanks. He said, where are y'all from? They had already walked out the door. I said, Destin, Florida. He said, my wife and I got back from Destin last night. He really? He said, what do you do? I said, I got a restaurant. He said, which one? I said, Harbor Docks. He said, sit down. I sat down. He said, we had dinner with Yoshi every night we were there. One night we went to Marina Cafe because I used to work with Jim. We were valet parkers together. And he said, we could not believe there was a sushi place like that in Destin, Florida.
Yeah.
He said, we're so sick of New Orleans. He said, if we, my wife and I, if the place that we stay, if they'd sell it to us, we'd move tomorrow. I said, where do y'all stay when you're in Destin? He said, the Morgan Beach House. And so we were for a year.
Did you say I'm not selling?
For years, and he never paid again. And we would get, for years, we got all our ham. We'd get 150 hams from Mother's. We sent the seafood truck over to get it, to bring them back for gifts. And they got expensive. And then when my dad died, we were at the funeral doing all that stuff. When we got home, had no idea Jerry was even there. He'd driven over from New Orleans in a Suburban, and we'd go into my parents' house and set up all the food with everything they do. Gave everybody a hug, got in his car and drove back to New Orleans. And when he died recently, and that was a tough one. He was really, his wife Brenda and Jerry, they had no kids, and they did love Destin. And that's who we went out with in New Orleans. I ate at Galatoire's one time, and it was nothing memorable about anything about it. Next year we ate with Jerry and Brenda.
Yeah.
It was a special meal as I've ever had.
That debris po' boy at Mother's. It's a good one.
I want to know what advice you would give yourself if you could talk to 25-year-old, 30-year-old you. What advice, knowing what you know now, you've made, I mean, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody, you've had a lot of success as well. What would you tell yourself at that age to maybe, I'll just leave it open-ended.
The simplest thing of all. No drink and no drugs.
It's that
I've
important.
gotten a few years in. Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, in terms of health, I'm relatively healthy somehow, but yeah, I would say in terms of life lessons, I would encourage people to read lots of stuff outside. Don't just read, if you're in the food business, read other stuff. Read the New York Times every single day. My dad did that for me. He would it drove me crazy when I was in school, but he would cut out articles that he thought I should be interested in. Might be astronomy, be civil rights, whatever it was, business, but he would.
Did you save them?
No, I did not save them, but I've read the New York Times, and I'm there every day since I was a kid. I've had 25-year-old kids, and they were not interested in any life lessons from me, but they're doing well. And,
Well, man, Charles, I can't tell you. You know how much you mean to me and how much you've meant to my career. I hope you know. I try to tell you that, but I think about a lot when I'm old and older, I guess, and sitting in a rocking chair looking back on all my days. You can't remember everything, but the things you remember most are the things you when you're doing them at the time, you don't know this is going to be one of those things that impacts me for years and years and years and changes the way I think about things. And you've been that for me. And my time was probably only about 8 months that I worked for you, but I loved every minute of it. And I idolized you and have tried to emulate the things you've done, and I hope I've come just a little close. I don't think I have, but my goal is to try to reach that pinnacle of the example you set for me, probably not even knowing you were doing that. But when I'm old and gray, and I won't be gray. When I'm old and bald, I'm going to be rocking in a chair, and I'm going to be thinking about you. I'm going to think about those days I worked for you and Destin and the times we've shared together since then. We always grab breakfast or lunch when I'm down, and I hadn't gotten him to Hattiesburg yet, though, so
I'm coming.
you got to come. Man,
High five.
thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
very
It's a
same to
great
you.
way
Thank
to
you.
end, man. That was awesome. Well, from that, you can tell you admire Charles Morgan quite a bit, and also the feeling is mutual. How did it feel getting to tell him what you really think about him?
You know, that he and I have breakfast at least once a year, sometimes a couple of times when I'm down there for the, the summer vacation with the family. And I don't think I had ever, I'm at an age where if you think of something, you need to share it. Because I don't know if I'm going to be here. I don't know if my friends are going to, you don't know who's going to be where and when you're going to have an opportunity to do that. So the older I get, the more chances I take to I'll call people up nowadays and say, hey, I know this is going to sound weird, but I've gotten to a point in my life where if I think something, I'm going to let you know. Just want to let you know how much I appreciate blah, 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 that kind of thing. It comes from the heart. I think I'm old enough now to, not feel, I don't know, nervous about sharing how I feel about somebody. Like you, buddy. This has been a very good late in life friendship, and you don't get too many of those. And I've always said the friendships you make when you're a kid, like elementary school, junior high school, those kind of friendships, you can go 20 years and see one of those people, and you pick right back up. But it's rare that later in life you make that kind of friendship that has that kind of depth. And I feel like you and I have that kind of friendship, and it means a lot to me. So,
Oh, man.
I'm telling people how I feel.
Dude, I feel the same way. And yeah, my friend Ty Sullivan does that. He'll call you or he'll text you randomly, and he makes sure he says, I love you, man. I really appreciate you. I'm like, first time he did, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? What? Are you sick? And he's like, no, I just want to tell you. And so I think that's a great habit. I think let's make that fashionable, telling people, giving people flowers while they're here. So yeah, no, I think I agree 100%. I also felt that connection with Charles a little bit too, because I don't know, watching you two made me like, not jealous, but like, I want to live life like that. I want to have a kick-ass story. I want to be able to say, you know what? I didn't do things how everybody said I was supposed to do it, and it still worked. That's like the coolest story there is, no matter what industry you're in. And so the whole time it's just like, oh man, this is, I feel incredibly fortunate to get to sit at a table with both of you legends, because it's like, man, that's not everybody gets to do that.
Well, Charles is the one. I mean, if you want to live a life, you want to live like Charles. I mean, he's lived on the beach his entire life, his adult life, and he has restaurants, and he loves to fish. He's got great kids. He's got grandkids. He's a blessed man, and I'm certainly blessed to have known him and to currently know him still.
Absolutely. Well, it was an awesome episode. Thanks to Charles and Ollie at Red Bar, who made sure we were set up personally. The hospitality was amazing. The food was amazing. We ended up not talking about the food too much, but chicken pane was insane. So yeah, Red Bar is amazing.
There you go. So we're signing off from Sweden here. This is the first time we've done this intro, outro away from each other. So we're really far away right now, but
You had to probably travel close to 24 hours to get there.
pretty close.
I walked about 30 seconds from my kitchen. It was great. The commute for me, no equity there in the commute.
I will tell you this, the food's better in Mississippi than it is in Sweden. So you got that going for you.
So my family on the Erickson side is Swedish, and I think we're gonna eat Swedish food. I'm going, we are? Meatballs. They got meatballs. So anyway. Well, you be safe. Next week's episode, make sure you subscribe. We're going to keep it coming. And if you enjoyed this, share with a friend, let somebody know. And we appreciate you. Thank you.
Onward.